G'day, ZiggyD here with some more indie game coverage for you guys. In this particular video I'm going to be giving you guys my first impressions review and a bit of a game overview for Akaneiro Demon Hunters, the free-to-play action RPG. Now this game features a Japanese-inspired art style, and as you can see it's quite dark and it's kind of a dark fantasy setting. Though that said, there's a lot of vibrant elements to it as well, like you can see with my different weapon and aura effects I've got going here, my bright green helmet, and you know there's a bit of flair to it. It's pretty interesting. Overall, I pretty much enjoyed the art style quite a bit. And the music as well, I think, is a really nice touch to this game. Overall, it's a good feeling game to be in. Grabbed my attention straight away, so that's always a good sign, and I think is a good staple for a lot of indie RPGs and indie games in general. So we'll jump straight into combat, and then I'll go over the different systems in the game, because combat, of course, is one of the biggest parts of action RPGs. So far, everything in this game seems to be in the right place in terms of it being an action RPG. It's pretty fully featured, it has a variety of different skills, and seems to have a good amount of flexibility for you to come up with your own builds, especially because you can start with almost any character and then build them in almost any way as well, depending on what you pick each time you level up and the skills that you essentially purchase from vendors. The skills themselves feel quite solid. Combat there's occasionally a little bit of a delay. It is always online because it is a free-to-play game and has it has a microtransaction system that needs to be online to be verified and things like that. Kind of their DRM. Oh, I seem to be stunned by this tree. I haven't actually played this level yet, and I believe, yeah, I'm only level 7. This is a level 8 zone, so I'm a little bit under level for it, so it might be a little bit of a challenge. But yeah, it's online, and I usually have between 1 and 200 ping, but occasionally it fluctuates up and get a little bit of latency. It's nothing that's really detracted from the game too much though, just occasionally there's a little bit of a delay when I kill things. But I haven't experienced any lag deaths or anything like that. But that's something that could be more annoying later on. But that's going to depend on your connection as well. The abilities themselves feel quite solid, as I mentioned, and there also seems to be a good bit of variety and depth to them. Man, these guys are really punishing me with those stuns. Let's see if I can break out of this so I can use my, or they're just permanently stunning me. There we go. So as you can see, my health's dropped quite low, and this is a good time to show off that my cleaving skill actually regenerates my life if I can do that without dying. There we go. So when I use that cleave skill, it actually drains life from each enemy I hit, which is pretty nice, and I've been able to build a fairly tanky character around it. I do seem to be having some nice internet latency at the moment, jumping around. That's probably my end, but it also could be the service. But this is the first time I've really encountered that to a serious extent. But basically, in terms of skills, you can have a loadout of 3 different skills. As you can see, I've got 1, 2, and 3. 1 is also bound to your right click. My 2 skill is a charge at the moment, and my 3 skill is basically an extra damage aura that I don't use too much because my energy seems quite limited. You can actually tab between 3 different loadouts, as you can see there. These change second loadout and third loadout, which I haven't bound anything to yet. So you can actually, in practice, take 9 skills into battle. But as I said, I think you really have to build a lot of energy regen into your character if you want to use a great variety of skills. However, if you just want to use one skill and just just spam that whenever you have energy, then I think pretty much any build seems to be able to do that so far. At least that's what I've experienced. I'll talk a little bit more about what I'm going for with my build a little bit down the track. In terms of the enemies you face, so far I've faced tons of goblins, tons of wolves. There's a good variety of tougher enemies, tougher versions of enemies, mini bosses and actual bosses. Some of them have reasonably interesting mechanics, but most of the time it's pretty much just hack through and make sure you're using some sort of healing ability whenever you can to try and keep yourself alive. So I'm getting trashed by these guys. The stun is brutal. So I'll try and use my cleave to heal myself up. Kind of a challenge. This is kind of actually the most challenging level I've gone through so far, as I said, because I'm kind of under-leveled. And the reason for that is, essentially, the way that you progress through this game is divided up into zones. So, as you can see on the map here, you essentially progress through this one zone, which you access from a town. There's basically a notice board in town, a guy that you talk to, and you go on these hunts, essentially. These demon hunts, as the name would suggest. And you go through and you have an objective to kill one sort of, my objective here is to destroy the witching tree. That's the demon I'm hunting this particular time around. However, you can go back to zones that you've done in the past and do them on a higher difficulty level, and this makes the mobs more challenging, adds more mobs into each zone, and also sometimes gives you extra objectives like One of the earlier levels I had to go and kill like an alpha wolf, and when I went back on the higher difficulty I actually had to also kill a certain amount of normal wolves. So just sort of basic, but adds a little bit of extra variety into what you have to do in each level, and makes you explore a little bit more in each level as well, I'm noticing. The zones themselves seems kind of satisfying. Some of them there's a little bit of backtracking in, and that's kind of annoying, but most of them are pretty much point A to B, point B, with the occasional little offshoot that you can go and explore, and usually to get a bit more treasure, find some more chests, or find some more enemies to defeat. Oh no, I'm gonna die! Okay, so this is a good chance to show the death screen then. That's obviously bound into the microtransaction system. When you die, you can go back to town for free, or you can spend some of these scrolls or this microtransaction currency to revive yourself, but it's really a non-issue. It's not that hard to just go back into the particular zone. So now this is actually good because I can show you guys around town, show you some of the other elements in the game. So in addition to your main character that you control and that you have full control over, you can also hire essentially friends to join into your game. You basically take their avatar into your game, and it seems like this is something where if you have an actual friends list built up, so there's kind of like all in a friends list here, that you're actually taking actual people's avatars into the game and having them fight alongside you, controlled by the AI of course, but that's interesting. I actually think that these might be actual players, or they might be pre-generated ones, but it does mean the potential is there for you to take actual players into the game. So I just took a level 6 avatar who's going to help me fight around, and there she is. That's pretty cool. In addition to that, you can go and summon cute little pets, so I'll summon a little puppy dog here that increases my power. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. There he is. It follows me around and gives me a bit of a buff. Skills essentially are broken up into 3 categories, and this kind of also feeds into the build system as well. So you've got prowess, which is basically your damage, strength sort of thing, fortitude, which is your defensive, tanky sort of character, and cunning, which is more about energy or like crit strikes and things like that. So at the moment, the build that I'm going for with my character is pretty much focusing fully on prowess. So I'm using all prowess abilities, and every time I level up, which I can show my character sheet here, I'm sinking as many points as I can into power. Basically, you select either power, defense, or skill each time you level up, or power, prowess, and fortitude each time you level up, and it distributes your points accordingly, so it gives you mostly power. As you can see, I've got a lot more power here, and what these do is if we go back into this shop here, the more points you have in prowess, the more damage and the more effective the prowess skills will be. So there are advantages to focusing on one particular type of things. However, you can easily cross build. You have a choice right at the start of the game whether you pick a prowess, fortitude, or cunning character. And that essentially dictates whether you start off with 1 point into prowess, 1 point into fortitude, or 1 point into cunning, and also gives you certain weapon and armor masteries. So my character started off with dual wielding 1, and also medium armor 1, as well as a prowess there. So you can select that as a base, and then you can build into fortitude all you want, or cunning all you want, or you can mix between the 3 and choose the skills you like. But at the moment I'm just focusing on prowess and using different prowess skills. As you can see, all my skills down here, and I think if I open my skills menu, how do I get to my skills menu? A, there we go. As you can see, I've pretty much got all prowess skills here, and I'm using those there. And you can bind each of these skills just by basically selecting here and chucking that in there, and you can set up your different skill groups that you can tab through. So pretty cool stuff. Pretty interesting, flexible system. Not hugely in depth, not Path of Exile level, but certainly pretty good from what I've seen from other action RPGs, especially free-to-play ones. So pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. In terms of itemization, is reasonably interesting actually. Basically, you have your basic damage stat and then an attack speed, which is usually just categorized as fast, slow, very slow, medium, that sort of thing. But you also have the secondary abilities, and as you can see, this green one here is basically essentially just a magic item, and it has Raging 1, which gives you a small boost to attack damage. There's a variety of different ones of these. These all seem to be Raging for some reason. There's Garnet with stat boosts. What else do we have? Frost with a slight chance to freeze enemy. And if we go to armor instead, there's like defense boosts, boost to armor, boost to health. Amulets and rings will have boost to energy or boost to move speed or other utility stats. So quite a good bit of variety in weapons and armor. In terms of weapons, you have one-handed weapons. They range from slow to fast, and you have two-handed weapons which range from slow to fast as well. In terms of armor, there's 3 categories of armor. There's light, medium, and heavy. Light armor, if you spec into light armor mastery, gives you extra move speed. If you have medium armor and you spec into medium armor, mastery, you get extra energy regen, and if you have heavy armor and spec into heavy armor mastery, you get, I believe, extra armor or extra survivability or something like that. And of course you can sell the items you find in your quest, and that's a good way to build up your primary currency, which is these soul fragments. They're all, what are they called exactly? Let's see if I can go to the store. They're karma shards. So as you kill enemy and break stuff and sell things, you get your karma shards. Karma crystals are the microtransaction currency, and as you can see, there are pay-to-win elements in this game because you can buy the currencies. However, so far it doesn't seem like there's any sort of pay to progress. It seems like you can easily just grind out the stuff. Karma crystals certainly aren't necessary. They're only used for supplementary stuff and extra boosts. And since I haven't seen any competitive PvP in this game, the boosts are just for your own personal enjoyment. Basically, if you want to progress through the game faster and have some slightly better equipment for a while, then you can, of course, spend a bit of money to support the devs and do that. But so far, the pay to win or microtransaction elements, they're blended into the game in lots of different areas. You know, it lets you know when you go to certain vendors and things like that that you can indeed pay to buy certain things. Like, as you can see, these things here are microtransaction things, and what do? They give you extra power for 10 minutes, that sort of thing. You know, just boosts essentially. You know, can I get out of this? Back, thank you. And you know, like, this is the basic vendor with all the stuff that you can just buy with normal currency, and there's another vendor which you can use the microtransaction currency to buy slightly better gear for your level. Yeah, so pretty standard stuff you'd expect from it, but nothing that seems particularly too bad. In also the similar sort of theming to free-to-play games, it has a lot of things to encourage you to play every day or to play regularly. For example, this well here fills up slowly, and you're encouraged to come back and check it every time it gets to 100 to get yourself some more karma shards. Also, whenever you check in for the first time each day, you get a reward, and each subsequent day that reward becomes more and more, it becomes better basically. So over 18 days or something like that, it gets better and better until you eventually get a really good reward. Well, I think that's how it works. But basically, something encouraging you, to play the game often, to check in often, which doesn't seem to be too bad a thing, because so far I've been having quite a bit of fun with it. So I think the last thing I wanted to show you guys was the way that levels are set out. So I mentioned each part is like a zone. You go on a hunt, and the current hunt that I'm up to in the storyline sort of progression is this one here, where I've just died in because I'm a bit underleveled. So basically, as you can see, this one has a timer on it. Each time you play a zone, it sets a timer. Now, this is very short in the beginning when you only have a few levels, but as you have more levels to choose from, the timer is quite longer. Now, you can bypass that timer by spending microtransaction currency, but it doesn't seem to be too big an issue because, as I said, there's quite a few ones to choose from. I can go from any one of these ones here, and in 47 minutes, if I come back tomorrow or whatever, that'll be refreshed. But essentially, each zone it progresses in difficulty. Once you finish easy, unlock medium. Once you finish medium, you unlock hard, and so on. And each one, as I said, increases the amount of mobs, the damage mobs do, the health they have, and also adds some additional objectives. So it's actually been pretty interesting going back to the earlier zones and seeing how they progress. And as you can see, like, they have recommended levels here, recommended level 4, recommended level 5. So I should be able to theoretically do that quite easily. But if we go to like one of these more recent zones, we've got recommended level 7. That'd probably be a good one for me to do now to level up, so that I can go into this one, which has recommended level of 8 since I'm only level 7. So far I've been having a bit of fun with this game. It seems quite good value, especially for a free-to-play game. I highly recommend checking it out. I don't know if I mentioned in this particular recording, but it released on Steam recently, and on the Steam listing it has that it costs $10. Now, this isn't actually the case because the game is actually free to play. What they're selling on Steam is basically a starter pack, and Steam does this with a lot of different games. They sell a starter pack that gives you a bunch of different currency and items when you first start the game. So, if you have already seen this video and you're like, damn, that game looks sweet, I'm going to just go ahead and buy that, then by all means, go ahead. But I'll include a link in the description below for you guys to check out that actually has a direct download for free from the official website. So this game is completely free to play. Just, you can spend money there on Steam to buy a $10 pack, which seems like good value comparing the other ways of purchasing currency. But I still recommend checking out a game and trying it out for a few hours before you decide to sink any currency and before you decide to sink any money into supporting the devs. I recommend at least giving it a go. But pretty fun stuff. Nice little distraction. You can kind of jump on, do a few levels, then jump off and play another game or do something else. Pretty good. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed my coverage of Akaneiro Demon Hunters. Let me know if you want to see any more of the game. I'm having a bit of fun with it. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.